In the heart of the Galactic Federation, a daring experiment was about to take place. The council chamber buzzed with excitement and tension as representatives from various species gathered. The Arcturians, known for their scientific prowess, had proposed a groundbreaking experiment to foster understanding between different species. Nyx, a brilliant Arcturian scientist with luminescent blue skin and a slender, almost ethereal form, had volunteered to spend 90 days in a human body. As she stood before the council, Nyx's eyes glowed with determination. "This exchange is more than just a scientific endeavor," she declared. "It's a step towards true interspecies harmony. By understanding each other's experiences, we can bridge the gaps that divide us." The council members nodded in agreement, though not without reservations. The procedure was risky, and the political implications were significant. The Federation's president, a wise and aged being with a deep, resonant voice, gave the final approval. "May this experiment bring us closer to a united galaxy." Nyx's human host, Mia, was a young astronaut from Earth. She had volunteered for the exchange out of a sense of adventure and a deep-seated curiosity about the universe. Mia had undergone rigorous preparation, including mental and physical training, to ensure she could withstand the process. As she lay in the medical chamber, her mind raced with anticipation and a hint of fear. The exchange procedure began, involving advanced neural transfer technology that connected Nyx's consciousness to Mia's body. The sensation was overwhelming for both of them. Nyx felt her Arcturian form dissolve into a stream of data, while Mia experienced an influx of alien knowledge and memories. When the process was complete, Nyx opened her eyes, now looking through Mia's human ones. The experiment had begun. Nyx woke up in a sterile white room, disoriented and overwhelmed by the flood of new sensations. The air felt different, heavier, and filled with unfamiliar scents. Her limbs felt denser, and the emotional intensity coursing through her was unlike anything she'd ever experienced. "Welcome to Earth," a voice said gently. Dr. Sarah Mitchell, the lead scientist on the human side of the exchange, stood beside her bed. She smiled warmly. "How do you feel?" Nyx struggled to find the words. "Strange. Everything is so intense." She placed a hand on her chest, feeling the rhythmic pounding of her heart. "This body, it's so different." Dr. Mitchell nodded. "It will take some time to adjust. Mia's friends and colleagues are eager to meet you. We've briefed them on the situation, but it's crucial you blend in as much as possible." Nyx nodded, determined to succeed. She had a mission to complete, and failure was not an option. She stood up, a bit unsteady at first, and looked at herself in the mirror. Mia's reflection stared back at her, dark hair, brown eyes, and a determined expression. Over the next few days, Nyx immersed herself in Mia's life. She studied human behavior, learned to navigate social situations, and tried to understand the intricacies of human emotions. Mia's friends, unaware of the full extent of the experiment, found her behavior odd at times, but attributed it to stress and the rigorous training she had undergone. Nyx's biggest challenge was understanding the depth of human emotions: love, fear, joy, and sorrow. Each was more potent than anything she'd felt in her Arcturian form. She marveled at the complexity and richness of human experiences, realizing that this exchange was teaching her far more than she had anticipated. Nyx's first official day at the Space Research Facility was filled with anticipation and anxiety. She had spent days preparing, but nothing could fully prepare her for the scrutiny of Mia's colleagues. The facility buzzed with activity as scientists and engineers worked on various projects. Nyx, now in Mia's body, had to navigate this environment without revealing her true identity. Dr. Mitchell accompanied her, introducing her to the team. "This is Mia," she said, "our brave volunteer for the exchange program. She's just returned from an intense training session." Nyx nodded politely, trying to mimic Mia's mannerisms. She shook hands with Dr. Alan Brooks, a senior researcher with sharp eyes and a skeptical demeanor. "Welcome back, Mia. How are you feeling?" "I'm adjusting," Nyx replied, choosing her words carefully. "The training was enlightening." As the day progressed, Nyx found herself fascinated by the human technology and their approach to space exploration. She absorbed as much information as she could, comparing it to her Arcturian knowledge. Despite the differences, she saw potential for collaboration and shared progress. During lunch, Nix sat with a group of scientists in the facility's cafeteria. The conversation shifted to the exchange program, and she listened intently, absorbing their perspectives. "I still can't believe we're doing this," said Laura, a biologist with curly hair and a quick smile. "It's like something out of a sci-fi movie." "Yeah, but think of the possibilities," replied Mark, an engineer. "We could learn so much from the Arcturians. Their technology is light years ahead of ours." Nix nodded, feeling a surge of hope. If she could prove the value of this exchange, it might pave the way for greater cooperation between species. However, she also sensed the underlying skepticism and fear. Not everyone was as open-minded as Mark and Laura. As the day ended, Nix returned to her quarters, exhausted but exhilarated. She reflected on the day's events, feeling a growing connection to humanity. Despite the challenges, she was determined to succeed. She knew that the next 90 days would be filled with trials and revelations, but she was ready for the journey ahead. But in the shadows, Aegis agents watched her every move, waiting for the right moment to strike. Nix was about to face dangers she had never imagined, and the fate of the exchange, and possibly the future of interspecies relations, hung in the balance. Unbeknownst to Nix and her new human colleagues, a secretive organization called Aegis was closely monitoring the exchange. Aegis was a covert group comprised of influential individuals who believed that humanity should remain isolated from other species to preserve its autonomy and security. They viewed the exchange program as a threat and were determined to sabotage it. Agent Marcus Steele, a former military officer with a sharp mind and a ruthless streak, led the Aegis team. He had a personal vendetta against aliens, stemming from an encounter that had cost him his family. Steele's orders were clear: gather intelligence on Nix, disrupt her activities, and if necessary, eliminate the threat. In the dimly lit Aegis headquarters, Steele reviewed surveillance footage of Nix interacting with the scientists. "She's too comfortable," he muttered. "We need to shake things up." He assigned his top operative, Agent Claire Reynolds, to infiltrate the research facility. Reynolds was a master of disguise and subterfuge, capable of blending in seamlessly. Her mission was to gain Nix's trust, gather information, and report back to Steele. Reynolds arrived at the facility under the guise of a new technician, introducing herself as Emily. She quickly integrated into the team, using her charm and expertise to earn their confidence. Nix, still adjusting to her human body and overwhelmed by the new experiences, didn't suspect a thing. As days passed, Reynolds observed Nix closely. She noted her growing rapport with Mia's friends and colleagues, her fascination with human technology, and her struggles to understand human emotions. Reynolds reported back to Steele, who grew increasingly agitated. "We need to act," Steele ordered. "Start small. Sabotage their equipment. Create distrust. Make them question the success of this exchange." Reynolds began her covert operations, subtly tampering with the research equipment. Minor malfunctions and delays became frequent, causing frustration among the scientists. Nix felt the pressure mounting, unsure of why things were going wrong. One evening, as Nix worked late in the lab, Reynolds approached her. "Need a hand?" she offered, her voice friendly. Nix smiled, grateful for the assistance. "Thank you, Emily. It's been a rough day." As they worked side by side, Reynolds subtly probed for information. "This exchange program is fascinating. What do you think will come of it?" Nix paused, considering her response. "I believe it has the potential to bridge gaps and foster cooperation. But there are challenges, both seen and unseen." Reynolds nodded, her eyes narrowing slightly. "Let's hope those unseen challenges don't derail everything." Nix's intuition tingled, but she couldn't pinpoint the source of her unease. She would need to stay vigilant. As Nix continued to navigate life on Earth, she became increasingly aware of the subtle intricacies of human culture. From the flavor of food to the nuances of body language, every experience was a learning opportunity. She attended social gatherings, observed human art and music, and even attempted to cook a traditional Earth meal, much to the amusement of Mia's friends. One weekend, Mia's friends organized a trip to a local museum. Nix marveled at the exhibits, which showcased humanity's history, achievements, and artistic expression. She was particularly drawn to a section on space exploration, where models of early spacecraft and images of distant galaxies captivated her. Mark, the engineer, noticed her fascination. "Impressive, isn't it? Humanity's reach may still be limited, but our dreams are boundless." Nix nodded. "Your species has an incredible drive, the desire to explore, to understand. It's inspiring." Laura, the biologist, joined the conversation. "It's not just about technology. Art, music, literature, they all tell a story of who we are and where we've come from." Nix agreed. "In my time here, I've learned that human culture is as vast and intricate as the cosmos. There's so much depth and variety." As they left the museum, Nix felt a deeper appreciation for humanity. These experiences were enriching her understanding, but she also sensed a growing threat. The recent malfunctions in the lab and the subtle tension among her colleagues hinted at something more sinister. Determined to uncover the truth, Nix decided to confide in Dr. Mitchell. Late one night, she visited the scientist's office. "Dr. Mitchell, I need to talk to you about something." Dr. Mitchell looked up from her work, concern etched on her face. "What is it, Mia?" Nix hesitated, choosing her words carefully. "I've noticed some unusual occurrences in the lab. Equipment failures, unexplained delays. I believe someone might be sabotaging our work." Dr. Mitchell's eyes widened. "Sabotage? That's a serious accusation. Do you have any evidence?" "Not yet," Nix admitted. "But my instincts tell me something is wrong. We need to be cautious and investigate discreetly." Dr. Mitchell nodded. "I'll look into it. In the meantime, keep an eye out and report anything suspicious. We can't let anything jeopardize this exchange." Nix felt a sense of relief. She wasn't alone in her suspicions, and together they could uncover the truth. Despite the growing tension, Nix continued to immerse herself in human culture. She shared her knowledge of Arcturian science and technology, impressing the human scientists with her advanced understanding. In return, she learned about humanity's history, struggles, and triumphs. The cultural exchange enriched both sides, but the shadow of sabotage loomed large. Nix's evenings were often spent with Mia's family and friends. They welcomed her with open arms, eager to share their traditions and experiences. One evening, they invited her to a family dinner, where she tasted homemade dishes and listened to stories passed down through generations. Mia's mother, a warm and kind woman named Elena, took a particular interest in Nix. "You know, Mia always talked about exploring the stars. She'd be so proud of what you're doing." Nix smiled, touched by Elena's words. "I'm honored to continue her journey. Humanity's spirit of exploration is truly remarkable." As the night progressed, Nix found herself engrossed in a conversation with Mia's younger brother, Jason, who was passionate about music. He played a song on his guitar, the melody evoking a mix of emotions that resonated deeply with Nix. "Music has a way of connecting us," Jason said. "It's a universal language." Nix nodded, feeling a newfound appreciation for human art. "In my culture, we have something similar, but it's more mathematical, structured. This is raw emotion." Jason smiled. "That's the beauty of it." The exchange of ideas and experiences continued to deepen Nix's understanding of humanity. She realized that despite their differences, there were profound similarities between humans and Arcturians. Both species sought connection, understanding, and a better future. However, the threat from Aegis was ever present. Reynolds, still posing as Emily, continued her covert operations. She planted doubts among the team, subtly suggesting that the exchange was causing more harm than good. Her manipulations began to take effect, and Nix noticed a growing sense of unease among her colleagues. One day, as Nix worked on a complex experiment, a critical piece of equipment malfunctioned. Frustration and worry gnawed at her, but she remained determined. She approached Dr. Mitchell. "We need to address these issues openly. The team is losing confidence, and we can't afford that." Dr. Mitchell agreed. "You're right. We'll have a meeting and lay everything on the table. Transparency is key." During the meeting, Nix and Dr. Mitchell addressed the concerns head-on. They explained the steps they were taking to investigate the malfunctions and reassured the team of their commitment to the project's success. The openness helped to ease some of the tension, but the underlying threat remained. As Nix left the meeting, she spotted Reynolds watching her from a distance. Their eyes met, and for a brief moment Nix felt a chill run down her spine. She knew that the battle for trust and cooperation was far from over. She would need to stay vigilant and find a way to uncover Reynolds' true identity before it was too late. The cultural exchange had brought Nix closer to humanity, but it had also revealed the darker sides of fear and distrust. The next phase of her journey would test her resolve and determination to bridge the gap between species. The future of the exchange, and the hope for a united galaxy, depended on her success. Nix and Dr. Mitchell's efforts to address the sabotage began to bear fruit. The team was more alert, their confidence slowly returning. However, the persistent malfunctions and subtle manipulations continued, casting a shadow over their progress. One evening, as Nix worked late in the lab, she was approached by Dr. Ethan Grayson, a senior scientist with a disheveled appearance and tired eyes. He was known for his brilliance, but had become increasingly reclusive in recent years. "Mia," he began, his voice low, "I need to speak with you. It's urgent." Nix sensed the seriousness in his tone and nodded. "Of course, Dr. Grayson. What's on your mind?" Grayson glanced around to ensure they were alone before continuing. "I've been watching you and the recent events closely. There's something you need to know. Aegis, an organization determined to sabotage this exchange, is behind the recent malfunctions." Grayson sighed. "I was part of Aegis once. I joined them out of fear, believing their propaganda that aliens posed a threat to humanity. But over time I saw the truth. Their methods are extreme and their vision is narrow. When I realized their true nature, I wanted out. But leaving Aegis isn't easy." Nix nodded, her suspicions confirmed. "So why are you telling me this now?" Grayson's eyes filled with regret. "Because I believe in this exchange. I believe in the potential for cooperation and understanding. I want to make amends for my past mistakes. I can help you expose Aegis and protect this mission." Nix studied him, her mind racing. "We'll need evidence and a plan. Can you help us gather both?" Grayson nodded. "I have some information already. With your help we can gather more and expose them. But we need to be careful. Aegis is watching us closely." With Grayson as their unexpected ally, Nix and Dr. Mitchell worked covertly to gather evidence against Aegis. Nix continued her cultural immersion, experiencing the full spectrum of human emotions and forming deep bonds with Mia's family and friends. These relationships challenged her preconceived notions and left a lasting impact on her understanding of humanity. One day, Nix joined Mia's family on a visit to the countryside. They hiked through lush forests, sharing stories and laughter. The beauty of nature and the warmth of human connection moved Nix profoundly. Mia's father, a kind and wise man named Robert, shared his thoughts on humanity's resilience. "We've faced countless challenges, wars, natural disasters, personal losses. But through it all, we find strength in each other. It's what keeps us going." Nix nodded, feeling a deep sense of respect. "Your species' capacity for love and resilience is remarkable. It's something we can all learn from." As they sat around a campfire that evening, Jason played his guitar and they sang songs together. Nix felt a profound sense of belonging, a connection she hadn't anticipated. These moments of joy and sorrow, of shared experiences, made her realize the true depth of human existence. Back at the research facility, tensions continued to rise. Reynolds, still posing as Emily, noticed the growing bond between Nix and the humans. She reported back to Steele, who grew more determined to disrupt the exchange. "We need to escalate our efforts," Steele ordered. "Create more significant disruptions. Make them question the entire project." Reynolds followed orders, increasing the sabotage. The facility experienced power outages, critical data corruption, and equipment failures. Nix and the team worked tirelessly to mitigate the damage, but the strain was evident. One night, Nix confided in Mia's mother, Elena. "I've learned so much about humanity. Your capacity for connection, your resilience, it's incredible. But I also see the fear and distrust that can divide us." Elena placed a comforting hand on Nix's shoulder. Fear is a powerful emotion, but so is hope. As long as there are people willing to fight for understanding and unity, there's always hope. The situation reached a boiling point when Aegis launched a bold attack on the research facility. Under Steele's command, they infiltrated the building, aiming to destroy the progress Nix and the team had made. The attack was swift and brutal, with agents disabling security systems and planting explosives. Nix, Dr. Mitchell, and Grayson quickly rallied the team. They had prepared for such an eventuality, but the reality of the attack was far more intense than they had anticipated. As alarms blared and chaos erupted, they coordinated a defense. Nix, using her knowledge of both human and Arcturian technology, worked to counteract the sabotage. Grayson provided crucial intel, guiding them to key points where they could neutralize the threats. Dr. Mitchell led the team with calm authority, ensuring everyone's safety. Amid the chaos, Nix confronted Reynolds. "Emily, or whatever your real name is, this ends now." Reynolds smirked, revealing her true nature. "You can't stop us, Nix. Aegis will never allow this exchange to succeed." Nix's eyes hardened. "You underestimate the power of unity and understanding." A fierce battle ensued, with Nix and Reynolds clashing in a high-stakes struggle. Their fight was a microcosm of the larger conflict between fear and hope. Nix's human body, though less physically capable than her Arcturian form, moved with determination and resolve. With a final, decisive move, Nix managed to incapacitate Reynolds. As she stood over her fallen opponent, she felt a mixture of relief and sadness. This victory was just one step in a much larger battle. Meanwhile, the rest of the team managed to neutralize the explosives and secure the facility. Steele and the remaining Aegis agents were captured, their plans thwarted. In the aftermath of the attack, the team regrouped, tending to the wounded and assessing the damage. Nix, exhausted but resolute, addressed the team. "We faced a great threat today, but we stood together and overcame it. This exchange is about more than just science. It's about proving that we can work together, that we can trust each other despite our differences. Today, we took a significant step towards that goal." The team nodded, their spirits lifted. They knew the road ahead would still be challenging, but they were more determined than ever to see the exchange through to its successful conclusion. As the facility began to recover, Nix felt a renewed sense of purpose. The battle lines had been drawn, and the fight for unity and understanding was far from over. With new allies and a deeper appreciation for humanity, she was ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. The attack had shaken the team, but it also galvanized them. Nix, Dr. Mitchell, and Grayson worked tirelessly to rebuild and fortify the facility. The event drew attention from the broader scientific and diplomatic communities, bringing new allies to their cause. As news of the attack spread, other species in the Galactic Federation expressed their support for the exchange program. Representatives from various civilizations arrived on Earth, eager to learn and collaborate. The research facility became a hub of interspecies cooperation, bustling with new ideas and perspectives. Nix found herself at the center of this whirlwind of activity. She facilitated discussions, shared her experiences, and learned from others. The diversity of thought and culture was enriching, and she saw firsthand how different species could complement each other's strengths. One day, Nix addressed a gathering of scientists and diplomats from multiple civilizations. "The recent attack reminded us of the challenges we face, but it also showed us the strength in our unity. Together we can overcome fear and distrust. Together, we can build a future where all species coexist in harmony." The crowd erupted in applause, their support energizing Nix. She knew they had made significant progress, but the underlying threat of Aegis still loomed. Steele and Reynolds were in custody, but Aegis's network was vast and persistent. To further strengthen their position, Nix and Dr. Mitchell proposed forming an official coalition dedicated to interspecies understanding and cooperation. The idea was met with enthusiasm, and soon the Coalition for Galactic Unity was established, with representatives from numerous species. As the 90-day exchange neared its end, Nix and Mia's friends faced their greatest challenges yet. The final phase of their mission involved synthesizing the knowledge gained and presenting their findings to the Galactic Federation. This would be the ultimate test of the exchange's success and a crucial step toward securing lasting cooperation. Nix worked closely with Dr. Mitchell and Grayson to compile a comprehensive report. They included data on technological advancements, cultural insights, and the emotional and psychological impacts of the exchange. The document was a testament to the depth and breadth of their experiences. However, Aegis had not been idle. Despite Steele and Reynolds's capture, remnants of the organization remained active. They plotted one last, desperate attempt to derail the exchange and discredit the Coalition for Galactic Unity. The team received a tip-off from an anonymous source within Aegis. The final attack was planned for the day of the presentation to the Galactic Federation. Nix and her allies had to act quickly to thwart the plot and ensure the safety of all involved. With the help of their new allies, Nix and Dr. Mitchell devised a plan to counter the threat. They increased security measures, coordinated with Earth's authorities, and set up contingency protocols. The tension was palpable as the day of the presentation approached. On the morning of the presentation, Nix addressed the team. "We've come a long way, but this is just the beginning. Today we show the galaxy what's possible when we work together. Let's make sure our message of unity and cooperation is heard loud and clear." The day of the presentation arrived, and the research facility was filled with representatives from across the galaxy. The atmosphere was electric, a mix of anticipation and apprehension. Nix, standing beside Dr. Mitchell and Grayson, felt a surge of determination. As the presentation began, Nix and Dr. Mitchell outlined the exchange's objectives, methodologies, and outcomes. They showcased the technological advancements achieved through collaboration, the cultural insights gained, and the emotional bonds formed. The climax of the presentation was Nix's personal testimony. She spoke from the heart, sharing her journey and the profound impact it had on her understanding of humanity. "These 90 days have taught me that despite our differences, we share common values and aspirations. Love, resilience, hope, these are universal. This exchange is proof that we can transcend our boundaries and build a better future together." The audience was deeply moved, many wiping away tears. The applause was thunderous, echoing through the hall. But as the applause died down, an alarm sounded. Aegis had launched their final attack. Chaos erupted as Aegis agents attempted to breach the facility. Nix, Dr. Mitchell, and Grayson, along with their allies, sprang into action. Security forces engaged the intruders, and a fierce battle ensued. The Coalition representatives, initially caught off guard, quickly rallied to defend the facility. Nix found herself face-to-face with a determined Aegis operative. The struggle was intense, each move calculated and desperate. With a final decisive maneuver, Nix disarmed the operative, securing the area. As the dust settled, the extent of the attack became clear. The facility was damaged, but thanks to the swift action of the Coalition and security forces, the intruders were apprehended. The presentation had been disrupted, but the message of unity and resilience had been delivered. In the aftermath, Nix and her team reviewed the situation. The final attack had failed to derail their mission. If anything, it had strengthened their resolve and underscored the importance of their work. Nix addressed the gathered representatives once more. "Today, we faced adversity, but we stood together. This is just the beginning of our journey. Let this moment be a testament to our determination and our commitment to a united galaxy." The representatives, inspired by Nix's words and the bravery displayed, reaffirmed their support for the Coalition for Galactic Unity. The exchange had not only survived the challenges, but had emerged stronger and more resolved. With the 90-day period coming to an end, Nix prepared to return to her Arcturian body. The experience had changed her profoundly, leaving her with a deep appreciation for humanity and a renewed sense of purpose. She bid farewell to Mia's friends and family, vowing to continue her work for peace and understanding across the galaxy. The success of the exchange marked a new beginning, a foundation upon which future cooperation could be built. Nix's journey had shown that unity and diversity was not just a dream, but an achievable reality. The legacy of her time on Earth would shape the galaxy for generations to come, proving that through understanding and cooperation, anything was possible. The final day of the exchange dawned with a mix of emotions for Nyx. Her time in Mia's body had been transformative, filled with experiences that had deeply impacted her understanding of humanity and her own identity. As she prepared for the procedure to return to her Arcturian form, she reflected on the journey that had brought her to this moment. The research facility was a hive of activity, with scientists and diplomats from various species gathering to witness the conclusion of the exchange. The Coalition for Galactic Unity had gained significant momentum, and the success of Nyx's mission had inspired hope and cooperation across the galaxy. Nyx stood in front of a large mirror, looking at Mia's reflection one last time. She had grown fond of this human form, with all its strengths and vulnerabilities. Dr. Mitchell entered the room, giving her a reassuring smile. "It's time, Nyx," she said gently. "Are you ready?" Nyx nodded, taking a deep breath. "As ready as I'll ever be." They walked to the medical chamber where the neural transfer technology awaited. Mia's family and friends were there to see her off, their expressions a mixture of pride and sadness. Mia's mother, Elena, stepped forward and hugged Nyx tightly. "Thank you for everything," Elena said, tears in her eyes. "You've shown us what is possible." Nyx smiled, feeling a lump in her throat. "Thank you for welcoming me into your lives. I'll never forget what I've learned here." Jason, Mia's brother, handed Nyx a small pendant. "This is for you, a reminder of your time with us." Nyx accepted the gift, touched by the gesture. "I will cherish it always." With a final wave, Nyx lay down on the medical bed, ready for the procedure. Dr. Mitchell and a team of scientists initiated the neural transfer, reversing the process that had brought Nyx to Earth. The sensation was overwhelming as her consciousness began to detach from Mia's body and return to her original form. As Nyx's Arcturian body reawakened, she felt a profound sense of disorientation, followed by a flood of familiar sensations. Her luminescent blue skin shimmered under the lights, and she took a moment to reorient herself. The transition had been successful. Nyx sat up, her eyes glowing with a renewed sense of purpose. Dr. Mitchell and the team watched in awe as she stood, her Arcturian form radiating a quiet strength. "Welcome back, Nyx," Dr. Mitchell said, her voice filled with respect. "How do you feel?" Nyx smiled, her emotions a complex blend of nostalgia and excitement. "Different, yet the same. My time on Earth has changed me in ways I never imagined." As she stepped out of the chamber, Nyx was greeted by the representatives of the Galactic Federation. They applauded her courage and the success of the exchange. The president of the Federation, with his deep, resonant voice, addressed the assembly. "Nyx, your journey has proven that understanding and cooperation between species is not only possible, but essential for our collective future. Your bravery and dedication have paved the way for a new era of interspecies unity." Nyx bowed her head in gratitude. "Thank you, Mr. President. This experience has taught me that despite our differences, we share common values and aspirations. Love, resilience, hope, these are universal. I am committed to continuing this work, fostering peace and understanding across the galaxy." The assembly erupted in applause, the sound echoing through the hall. Nyx felt a deep sense of fulfillment, knowing that her efforts had made a lasting impact. As the ceremony concluded, Nyx approached Mia's family and friends one last time, now in her Arcturian form. They embraced her warmly, their bond transcending physical appearances. "Thank you for everything," Nyx said, her voice filled with emotion. "I will always carry a part of humanity with me." "And we'll always remember you, Nyx," Elena replied. "You have a home here, always." With a final farewell, Nyx boarded the Arcturian spacecraft, ready to return to her home planet. As the ship ascended into the sky, she looked back at Earth, a planet that had become a second home to her. The experiences and lessons she had gained would guide her in her mission to bridge the gaps between species. Nyx's journey was far from over. The success of the exchange had laid a strong foundation, but much work remained to be done. With the support of the Coalition for Galactic Unity and the allies she had made on Earth, Nyx was determined to continue her efforts, fostering a future where all species could coexist in harmony. As the spacecraft entered the vast expanse of space, Nix felt a sense of peace and determination. Her 90 days in a human body had changed her profoundly, and she was ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. The legacy of her journey would shape the galaxy for generations to come, proving that through understanding and cooperation, anything was possible.